Hi everyone, and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. For those who haven't met me before, my name's Steve Aiken. I'm the Business Development Manager here at BusinessWorks, and I'll be your MC for today's session. It's pretty exciting. This is the first of our six-part series of Microsoft Copilot. Across the series, we'll be taking you through all aspects of how Copilot works. The idea is not just to sort of show you how Copilot works, but sort of get an understanding of how we can implement that into your business, effectively, see how it fits within your business, and also, see how you can get the most amount of value from a particular product. Today's session is going to take about 30 minutes, so it's pretty concise and focused, but there's plenty of insights that you'll be able to take away from today's session. We will, at the end of the session, talk a little bit about some training that we're packages that we've got available. So we'll talk more about that, and then how you can order Copilot licenses and that sort of thing. But it gives me great pleasure to introduce our presenter today, which is Jess Cornwell from Intelli Training. Jess not only will be our presenter for today's session, but also across the series. So welcome, Jess, and thank you very much, and welcome to the BusinessWorks family.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello,
everyone. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks for your time today. I'm really excited to give you some insights on Copilot. With regards to the webinar, if you have any questions, because it's such a short time, we just ask you to put it into the Q&A for us, please, and we'll come back to those questions at the end of the session. If we can't get to the questions, then we will absolutely respond via email as well. If you like as well, you can use the react button in the webinar to send thumbs up or love hearts to tell me that you're enjoying the content. If you like as well, at the top of the Teams meeting, you can use the More button and go to language and speech and choose to turn on show live captions, or you can use the interpreter in there as well if you'd like to. So we're going to start with what is Copilot. So it is an AI assistant, and what does that mean? That basically means that it can work in with your organizational data. And when I'm talking about organizational data, I'm meaning things like documents that might be in your SharePoint or OneDrive. So Word documents, PowerPoints, it could look at your emails, it can go into your meetings within Teams and your meeting chats, and basically what it's there for is to help you become more efficient and support you with decision making. It does support you across, saving time in your everyday work, and I can definitely agree with this statement. Ever since I've started using Copilot, I am far more efficient than I used to be. So I use it for things like drafting emails. I use it heavily in Teams to summarize my meetings. We can create documents, we can build presentations, analyze data in Excel, and even answer questions. And all we have to do is just ask it in an everyday language. So if you don't know how to do something, or you're not understanding something that you might be reviewing, you can just ask Copilot and it'll come back with a really easy response. It also helps us find information faster. So instead of searching through our emails, our Teams chats, our documents, even in SharePoint, we can ask Copilot where we can find that information. That is a really good way to see its capability straight away. So if you're trying to find something, if you have a paid Copilot license, you can just go into the chat and ask it to help you find some information, and you'll see how great it is at doing that for you. It improves our productivity across those Microsoft 365 apps. Unlike other AI platforms, Copilot is actually built into those applications. So when you open up an application, if you keep an eye out for the Copilot icon, you'll notice that you can click on it within those applications. So within Word, Outlook, Excel, Teams, PowerPoint, and much more. If you click on that Copilot icon, it will let you work directly inside that app, which is super handy as well. We can automate repetitive business processes. So we could use Copilot and Copilot agents, and even a product called Power Automate, which is a Microsoft product as well. And basically that makes it possible for us to reduce manual effort and create repetitive workflows within Copilot, which are really cool. There is a range of roles that can benefit from Copilot, but I can honestly say very confidently that anyone in business can use Copilot. We train a range of different organizations on this product, and every single one of them gets benefit in some way, shape or form by using Copilot in with their Microsoft 365 apps. I think this is probably the most important thing. I know a lot of people have probably dabbled in AI. Where Copilot is different is it is built in the best-in-class data protection and privacy. It runs inside your Microsoft secure environment, and it respects your permission. So what does that mean? It means that Copilot can only access data, so your emails, your chats, your files that you already have access to. So I couldn't go into Copilot and ask to find out other people's wages, unless obviously I was in HR or accounts, because I don't have access to that data already. So that's really important to understand as well. And also Copilot will never use your data to train public AI models either. So it really follows that same security and compliance standards that you already rely on within your Microsoft environment. Some typical use cases for Copilot, and this is one of the questions that I get asked a lot when doing training, so I thought it would be good just to quickly touch on this. We can use it for meeting productivity. So before a meeting, we could use Copilot to prepare. We might review previous emails or chats with that person we're meeting with, find relevant documents, and just really find some talking points that we might want to bring up. So that really helps. During a meeting, we can use Copilot to capture notes, key decisions, action items. I would literally pay the Copilot just for this function. It is such a great function. If you turn on transcription when you're in your own meeting or someone in your organization's meeting, then you get things like meeting recap, action items, all sorts of great functions, and it comes as part of that Copilot license. You can also use Copilot to search across your organizational emails, like I mentioned earlier. This often, when I show it in training, is one of the great things that people love, because you don't have to go and search for an email. I think we've all used search in email and Teams and maybe have been a bit frustrated with how we get responses. I can guarantee you, if you're using the Copilot search, you're going to find things much faster as well. And we can obviously use it for drafting and rewriting content. I would say this is my most used feature when it comes to Copilot. I use it to draft and rewrite my emails. If I'm writing some sort of content, I'll write it and then get Copilot to have a look at it for me. We can even do things like take a PDF or an image and extract text from it. So if we have anyone in here that's in accounting, or maybe you write things, handwritten notes on a piece of paper, you can actually then upload that into Copilot and ask Copilot to extract the text off those documents or off an image, or even if you took a screenshot of this presentation right now and put it into Copilot and asked it to extract the text, it would do it for you. So these are some really handy things that Copilot can do. It can be used to manage your inbox, so you could put a prompt in that says, summarize my unread emails, highlight messages that need my attention, identify any emails awaiting your response. Look at my sent emails, tell me anyone that hasn't responded when I've asked a question, stuff like that. We can use Copilot to learn new skills as well. I think that people underestimate this feature in Copilot. A lot of the time when we're doing training, someone will ask, well, Jess, can Copilot do this? A lot of the time my response is, let's ask Copilot. And then that way you can kind of learn how to use it in a sense of giving you those skills. So whether it's learning a new application, a process, a concept, we can ask that of Copilot, and Copilot can come back and tell us what we need to know. So yeah, the first place I always go to when I don't know how to do something is I ask Copilot. Okay, with regards to Microsoft 365 Copilot licensing, when you have a Microsoft 365 subscription, you do get a free version of Copilot or a complimentary version of Copilot with your subscription. It allows you to use certain functions within Copilot, very similar to what you would use, say, in a ChatGPT. There are a little bit of plugins in some of the applications as well. But if you want the full experience of Copilot, that's where you purchase the Copilot license, and that gets implemented on your user, and then you get the full Copilot within all the applications that I spoke about earlier. If any of you need any help with whether you have a paid Copilot license, you can always reach out to BusinessWorks and they can help you with that as well. And when it comes to AI in general, but Copilot specifically, there are two key types of AI that it uses. The first is called natural language processing, or NLP. What that means in our, easier to understand terms is we can ask Copilot a question in everyday language. So as if I was asking Stephen to do something for me, I could do the same thing with Copilot. The second is called machine learning, or ML, and I think this is probably the most important AI function that Copilot has. What it does is it looks at your habits, your preferences, and the way you work, and over time it starts to recognize patterns in your work, and it starts to give you suggestions that feel much more personalized and relevant to you. As an example, I use the auto rewrite function in Outlook a lot, so I'll write what I'm thinking, I'll just type it out in an email, I'll highlight that, and I'll ask Copilot to auto rewrite it using, there's a little sparkle icon on a pen when you do that. When I first started using Copilot, I found that it was a little bit robotic and AI sounding, and I didn't particularly like it, but I persisted with it, and over time it got better and better and better, and now it's at the point where I literally don't have to, if I use auto rewrite, I can read it and send it. It sounds like me, it's customized to how I like to write my emails, and that's all come from that machine learning. So when we put these two technologies together, not only does Copilot understand what you're asking, but it also gets better at anticipating what you might need next as well. Okay, so that's enough of me talking now. We're going to dive straight into a demo. I'm just going to open up I'm going to show you first how to open or find Copilot. So just bear with me 1 second. Down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen is your search bar within your Windows. When you click in there, you can type in the word Copilot. Now, this is a common confusion between most people, is there's two types of Copilot. This one is your personal Copilot. It's not got all the features that are linked in with Microsoft 365. You want to make sure that you click on this one here. It says Microsoft 365 in it, and it's an app, and it's got this little black label on it that actually says M365. And that's the one you're going to open. If you can't see it on your desktop, it just needs to be installed. And again, you can reach out to us and we can help you with that as well. When we click on it, it opens up. And in the bottom left-hand corner, if you don't see your name, you may need to log in, which you can do just with your normal Microsoft login for your business. And then the way you know if you've got a paid license is you can look into these brackets here. If it says premium, it's a paid license. If it says basic, you're using the complimentary or the free license of Copilot. So the things I'm going to show you today are definitely based on the paid license. So just be aware if you try these yourself and they don't work, it might be that you're using the basic license. So the things I wanted to show you is at the top of the screen, we have what's called work and web, and we can go between these two here. Work is what we use for organizational data. So if we're going to go and reference an email or a file on OneDrive or SharePoint, we're going to use work. Web is where we're going to use if maybe we're asking about the weather and it's just kind of like a web browser search. That's where you use that one. This is the message Copilot box or the prompt box. It's across all if you open up Copilot in the apps, you'll see this here. And then within this message Copilot section here, this is where we put the prompt or the request that we want Copilot to do. Underneath the request is this little plus sign. When we click on it, we can add in other sources that Copilot can look at when it's doing this response. So as an example, if I was extracting text off a PDF, like we said before, I'd want to attach the PDF in here so it can extract the text. If I had multiple documents and I wanted to combine them into one, I would reference the documents I want to combine in here, and then I'd put my prompt in to do that. We can add work content, which will look at your recent files or files that you open all the time. You can also do that by just using a little / in here, and it opens up a little search box, and then you can go and type in a specific word and it will come up with that, like basically search down on that word. We can look for people, we could look for files, we could look for meetings, emails, we can even come over here and look for chats, channels, sites, and other information as well. So that's just using a /. If we click on the plus sign and we were to choose this one here, it's the same as clicking on the /. So it takes us to the same screen. Under upload, we do have the option to upload images from our computer. So this might be our C drive, or we can attach from SharePoint or OneDrive. So it's really good to know that that plus sign's there and you can use it. And it's also here where we can reference or attach to agents that Microsoft have created or you've created yourself. So an agent is something that's created that has a concept behind it. So researcher will do researching for you. Analyst will do analyzing of data, and under more, we also have a designer agent here. We will touch on agents further in the future in other sessions if you'd like more information about that too. So this is the prompt box, like I said. Up the very top here, we have auto. If we click down on auto, this is the way that Copilot thinks. So it can either do, it can either work it out itself, whether it needs to think quickly or long, or we can say, hey, we want you to do a quick response or think deeper, depending on the prompt we're putting in. Then, this is quite important. People don't realize this, but Copilot actually uses AI models that are Microsoft's models, but also you can use Claude or you can use OpenAI models, which are your GPT or ChatGPT models as well. So you can use auto and ask a question, or you can be specific and say, I want to ask this prompt using Claude, or I want to ask this prompt using GPT. So same prompt you could ask using auto as well as one of these. Give it a try and see how it comes back with different responses. This is starting a new chat. We're going to do that every time we want to change the topic. We like to keep the topic the same with Copilot as with any AI, but if we're going to now go and ask it to do something else that's not related to what we were talking about before, highly recommend starting a new chat. It's like wiping the slate clean, and then we can start to put in a different prompt in here as well. This is the enterprise data protection, so it's just telling you that you're doing a secure prompt in here as well. So I'm going to put in a prompt. So the first prompt I'm going to do is, sorry, before I do that, I just wanted to show you one other thing because it's really handy. It's this dictate option here. So dictate will let you talk to Copilot and it will do speech to text for you. So if you've got quite a long prompt or you're not really sure what you're trying to say, that's me on a daily basis, I'll turn the start dictation on and I'll talk, and then Copilot will do speech to text and put the prompt in there for me. And Copilot's really good at working out what I want, even if I do ramble on for a little while. So that start dictation is quite good to use as well. I use that a lot on my mobile because I have Copilot on my mobile as well. All right, so I'm going to put in a prompt. This is an example of one of those typical use cases that I spoke about before. So I'm going to use Copilot to do some research here. I could also use the research agent if I wanted to by clicking on the plus sign and choosing researcher. But in this case, I'm just going to ask a quick question to Copilot. I'm asking it to research the top 5 Copilot features released in the last 6 months. I'm asking it to summarize each feature in plain English, explain the benefits, provide practical examples, and include the links to the Microsoft announcements. When I send that in, and I do that just by clicking on this little arrow here, or I can click enter on my keyboard, it's going to go ahead and run that prompt. And we're going to see it's going to think. I could speed it up and say, give me a quick answer by clicking on that. But because I'm doing research, I'm actually just going to be patient and wait for it to come back with a response, which we'll do in a second. And what we're going to see is when the response comes back, we're going to get some lovely little sources that Copilot's used to give us this information. And it is important to understand that as well, because sometimes we want to make sure that we are looking at the right, well, every time when AI gives us a response, we want to make sure that we are using or checking the information that AI has given us back or Copilot's giving us back. So right now it's actually searching both my work and web. So I have it on work, so it's searching my organizational data. I probably should have come over across to a web and put that prompt in. It just means that it's going to not go and search organizational data. And I wanted to show you that because sometimes we get mixed up and we put it in the wrong tab. Even I do it. So sometimes I'll put it in the wrong tab. And because we're in work, it was taking a lot longer because it was going and searching OneDrive, SharePoint, emails, chats to see if it could find a response on this. But really, I've asked it to check Microsoft, so I should have used web in that example. You can see here it's come back quite quickly now with the response. We've got an answer, and see how I've got this little circle. Now this is going to come up with all of your responses, and this is the source that Copilot's used to give you that information. As we're scrolling down, we're going to see at the very bottom of the response that we actually are going to have all of the sources that Copilot's used. If we click on that, it'll open on the right-hand side, and we can actually check that to see, oh yeah, this I'm pretty confident that all of this is correct because it's used all these great sources here. I'll just close out of that with the X. Also, what we can do under any prompt is we do get suggested further prompts from Copilot, and these are super handy because sometimes this will give you an idea of what you want to do next. It gives you like, it just basically gives you ideas like, what could I do next with this data? What do I want to ask of Copilot next? And this is where you can see that. You can also click on this to copy the prompt and paste it somewhere else, or copy the response, sorry, and paste it somewhere else, which is really handy because then, this information you might want to go and send to a colleague as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another example of how we can use features within Copilot. So the one that I want to show you is called personalization in Copilot. And personalization is where we can basically give Copilot information about how we'd like it to respond to us. So there's two types. There's Copilot memory, and what Copilot does is it checks that memory with every prompt and decides whether it's valid to use it in its response. So as an example, the memory I'm going to put in for this one says, update your memory that I'm a business owner. I prefer concise executive summaries that focus on key actions, risks, opportunities, and business impact. Okay, that's just an example. I like to put update your memory in there because it makes it really clear to Copilot that's what I want it to do. It doesn't matter when we're updating memory if in work and web either. So I'm going to send that in, and we'll see Copilot have a think, and then it comes up and it says, yep, memory updated. So it gives me this little thing here. It's told me what it's done, which is amazing because I can see it right there. And then if I wanted to go and have a look at that memory in the future, in the top right-hand corner, I get these three little dots. And when I click on that, I can go into settings, which is right here. And within settings, I have on the left-hand side, personalization. Within personalization, there's a saved memory section. And if I go and click on this little hyperlink that says manage saved memories, it's going to open up and show me all of my memories that it's saved over time. So you can see there's quite a few in there. I can delete specific memories if I don't want them there anymore, or I can delete all memories down the bottom. So what does that mean? It means that now when Copilot gets a prompt from me, it's going to check this and see if it's valid to give, to provide a response with some of this in it. So if I was writing about my business, because I'm a business owner, the response would be kind of tailored around being a business owner. If I was asking for a recipe on how to cook chicken, it's obviously not going to include the business owner stuff in that. So that's where we can use those saved memories. If I go back to personalization, the other section which is really handy is custom instructions. So if I click on edit instructions here, this is where we can go in and put instructions that are specific for every response that Copilot gives us. So some of the things that I've got in here is use Australian English. I want my responses to be concise and practical. Don't use hyphens or em dashes in my responses. Use friendly professional tone and so forth. So anything that kind of annoys you about AI in general, sometimes it highlights bold, like it bolds your text. These things can be put in this custom instruction. And then every time you put a prompt in, Copilot will check this and come back with a response that doesn't have that in there. So those two things I hope are really handy for you. I found them really handy when I'm using Copilot. And just to recap, we did that by putting in a prompt that said update your memory for memory. And the way we accessed it was through the three dots here, and we went into settings. Okay, I'm going to do one more prompt just to show you another little feature here. So I'm going to show you an email prompt, and what my prompt is going to say is around reviewing my unread and flagged emails for the last 7 days. Now I'm going to use work for this prompt because I'm actually asking it to access my emails. So remember I said for any kind of organizational data, we want to use work. I'm going to paste that prompt in. You can see it says review my unread and flagged emails for the last 7 days and group into. I'm just going to do a little tweak here and say 30 days. And then it says urgent action required, waiting on response, informational only, etc., etc. I'm going to send this through, and what we'll see is Copilot will go and have a look, and it's going to check my unread and flagged emails. And you can see it's preparing it, it's telling me what it's doing. When it's finished, we'll see an answer here, and we will be able to then go ahead and see the response that Copilot's given us. Once it's finished doing its little response, right down the bottom, we'll see all the information that we're getting. It's telling me what's rating on response, etc., etc. And then what I wanted to show you is up the top here, we have our prompt that it's done. And if we hover over that prompt, we get the information now to go ahead and schedule this prompt. And this is what I wanted to show you because these two here are actually really super handy. Scheduling a prompt, let's say that this said review my unread and flagged emails for the last 24 hours. And I wanted to schedule this to run every day. Okay, so what I do to do that, I can come to the previous prompt and hover. I can click on this little icon here that says schedule this prompt. When I select it, it opens up a screen and you can see here, this is the prompt that I've created. I could tweak it if I wanted to. So I could say the last 24 hours. And then if I wanted to, I can come down here and create a schedule. So when does it start? What time does it run? What day? So obviously in this case, I'd probably want to do it starting tomorrow. I would want to run it for maybe 5 o'clock at the end of the day, or first thing in the morning. And do I want to run it every day? I don't really want to work on the weekend, so I'll just do Monday to Friday. I can remove the end date here by clicking on this, which, you know, we could add an end date as well if we're working on a particular project and we're running a prompt every day. And then I like to tick this because Copilot will send an email once this response is ready, and I can click on the link and it will open the response for me straight into Copilot. When I click save, it's going to save the prompt, and you can see here I've got a couple saved. And once it's saved that schedule, I'll get a little 3 dots here. And from there, I can do things like run the schedule right now. I can delete it. I can edit it. I can deactivate it if I wanted to. So run it now, edit the schedule, turn it off, or delete it as well. So I'll go ahead and delete that because I don't really want that to email me every day. But you can see how easy that was. Remember, we just hovered over the prompt and clicked on this little icon here to schedule it. The one to the right of that will actually let us save the prompt. So when we click Save Prompt, it opens up and lets us put a title in. This is the prompt that we want to save, and we simply just hit Save. Why would I do this? Maybe I've got a prompt that's quite lengthy and I run it randomly, and I want to just save it so I don't have to copy and paste it every time or try to think how to say it again. I'll save it. And then when we start a new chat, which I'm going to do here, below the prompt box, you'll have three little dots. And when you click on those 3 dots, it opens up. And depending on the version of Copilot that you have, if you'll look for your saved prompts or your prompts, and that's where they save. And we just go ahead and click on it to add the prompt straight in. Okay, I'm going to stop there now because we're at time, and I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint. I just wanted to mention that we do have, obviously there is Microsoft resources as well available to you. We will send you the links to these resources as well as the presentation from today, so you can access that. And now I'm going to hand back over to Stephen. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jess. That was excellent. So, as Jess mentioned, we're going to post this session. We're going to email each participant that joined today a recording of the session and the presentation resources. Hopefully, that'll help you. We're also going to, if you go to the next slide there, Jess, that would be great. We've got obviously some training packages that we will present to you guys. So if you're interested, obviously half an hour doesn't sort of give you enough time, even though we're going to do 6 half-an-hour sessions over the next sort of 6 months leading up to Christmas. If you're interested in some additional training that might fit within your business, then we'll leave this QR code up, and that'll also be in the email that we send out. And if anybody's interested in sort of looking at getting the license packaging, sort of reach out as well to the guys at Business Works. So again, thank you very much. The next session is on the 18th of August at 10 a.m. So please sign in. We'll look forward to seeing you all then, and thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Bye. Thank you.